Tabletop Gaming. My name's Brian.
And I'm Ethan.
And today we're going to be experimenting with the Brawlmachine format. If you aren't familiar with this format, there will be a link in the description to the rules for it, but essentially Line of Sight has created a new format for Warmachine that plays at 25 points single list with a 15-point sideboard, and then it allows you to play the best 2 out of 3 games like a lot of us would be familiar with if you're a TCG player or a CCG player, whatever you want to call those. Like Magic is probably the one I'll bounce off the most. The 2 out of 3 format lets you kind of learn a little bit more about your opponent's list and not feel like just a couple mistakes are going to cost you the round. So we decided to throw down with this one. For my list, I ended up putting a poll on Facebook, and I got trolled, like literally, because overwhelmingly people wanted to see trolls for my list, and I was pretty happy about that. I am a very avid troll player, and in Brawlmachine I think they do have quite a bit of clout, so to speak. For the list that I brought, I ended up having Madrak 1 with a Brawler, or no, not a Brawler, a Mauler and an Impaler. I brought a full unit of Champions with Skaldi as the rec option. Then I also have... what else did I have in the list? Oh, a Min Stone with the normal Stone Scribe Elder. And then for the sideboard, I have a Pyre Troll, a Fellcaller, and a Swamp Gobber Bellow Crew. Now, the sideboard, for the most part, is just so I can like flop out the Impaler if I don't feel like it's necessary. And then the Swamp Gobbers are there to score a circle zone if I don't want the rest of my brick moving into it. And then the Fellcaller's there just because if Skaldi isn't quite getting his value, which I didn't know if he would by now or not, I can flip him out for the Fellcaller, and then that'll still give me Pathfinder while having a solo to score things, because you'll notice very obviously that I have no solos in the main board.
And then for my list, I'm playing my boy Gaston, because nobody shoots like Gaston. Playing him in Soldiers of Fortune, I got Reinholdt, Rocinante, Toro, Anastasia, Stannis Brocker as my rec option, and then a min unit of Halberdiers and a min unit of Cavalry. And then my specialists are Alexia 2, Steelhead Halberdiers, and Gorman de Wolf. My thoughts are, I'm just trying to play, like, this is our first Brawlmachine, so I'm trying to play more of like a balanced list. So like I got Jacks, I got infantry, I got units, or I got solos, and then I got Anastasia for contesting, for ambush, because I feel like that's really important in Brawlmachine. And my sideboard is kind of fitted in, so Alexia can swap out for Stannis if I don't need Tactician, and then maybe if like there's a lot of souls on the list that Gaston doesn't need, or if I can get it from enemy models, that lets me poop out solos just for contesting and mark target. And then like the Arcanist and Gorman can swap in for Reinholdt if I need. So I won the role to go first, and with Anastasia, I feel like the role to go first in Brawlmachine, because once you win the first game, whoever loses gets the auto win the next game for the role, and then vice versa. So I won the role, went first, because I feel like that's really important to get up the board. Gaston put Lifebound on the Halb units and Dauntless on the top unit of ponies. And then basically I'm just running up and getting into position. I want to stay outside of Impaler throw range bottom of 1, just so that way he doesn't scalpel off some support, because I'm pretty fast with my ponies at speed 8, so I can pretty much get up there and then try and jam out in scenario.
Yeah, anything you can get early in this game is good.
Yeah, because like if you start the peace trade on your terms, that's huge, and you don't want to just give away models. And then I did forget my unit of Halberdiers at home, so I had to use my Wolves of Orboros, because like I need to stop leaving stuff here because I can't remember what's here and what's not.
So for my top of the turn, I think my goal here is just to really kind of present my army and try and make it so Ethan just bounces off of a lot of it. So I run the Mauler up forward, full bore, and then I think I'm just kind of checking some, like I haven't played Madrak 1 in quite some time, so I just need to like figure out what I'm doing with him. So I walk him up, and I'm just trying to make sure that I can stay out of threat for everything. And these are champions, I'm sorry, that wasn't Madrak. So I had threatened that I would get this list fully painted for this one, but I forgot that I never assembled a Mauler like in the X amount of years I've been playing Trolls. So I needed to take care of that. And not that the rest is fully painted, but it is what it is. I failed my threat. But
You tried.
I tried. Because Madrak is like almost done. But I really paid a lot of attention. I think I spent like 3 days on just his skin. So now Madrak's going, and I need to get him on the flag because since I don't have solos, this scenario is going to be really hard for me to deal with because there's that big-ass cloud in the middle, and it means that I can't charge into his zones, and I just feel like I'm going to get jammed out early, so I need Madrak on the flag. So he goes up and puts out even ground. The stone gets up to 4 fury with the vault after he dumped stuff in, and then the Impaler runs up just to get into position to start throwing spears when the opportunity presents itself.
So, top of 2, I'm upkeeping both my spells, allocating nothing, because Rocinante is pretty much Gaston's best friend because he doesn't need focus with Powerful Shot. I ran everything in position last turn, so everybody's in my control, so I feat. So everybody gets Stealth, Ghost Walk, and Run and Gun. Usually, it's just pretty much for Stealth on a stick. So there, I think this might have been a mistake. I realize now, like, I could have ran that pony all the way around the house to get like on the other side of that rubble contesting instead of just barely towing in. But I'm trying to play coy this turn and make him come to me because I'm going to have Stannis on my flag. I did not ambush Anastasia this turn just to not give him the chance to kill her. And then that with that burning earth in the middle, it's kind of like it's a forest and a cloud, so it really shuts down both of our lists for getting the alpha. So like he can't charge me, I can't charge him, but he needs to start coming up here to contest me, because he's going to start the scoring.
I will say that the burning cloud in the middle was kind of like a Travis Marg decision. I'm in a league for Brawlmachine for the Wisconsin folks, and the table that we're playing on for round 2 is very similar to this. So I'm like, oh, I'll just put this burning earth in the middle, and realize that none of us are going to have a good time with it.
I will.
Yeah,
eventually.
Yeah, eventually you will. So I'm trying to set up for feat turn because I want to get my stuff to where Ethan can't really do a ton of damage to me because he would not want to, but need to charge and want to as well. With all the armor and boxes that I'm stacking, not charging this army is really not super effective. And that's kind of what I was looking for. I was like, what can I do in Brawlmachine to kind of make my list go the long run? And I felt like I'm going to crank up my survivability so much to where it's almost impossible to take everything without needing to commit a lot of resources to it. So Ethan might be able to take out a couple champions maybe in a turn, and maybe do some work to the Mauler too, but with my feet up and the stone popping around, I really don't think he'll be able to do much given that his resources are still pretty limited, and Rocinante isn't world-renowned for his combat output.
I mean, he's got a POW 18 stick.
It's just he's got the one stick. Yep. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at with it. And the Mauler's pretty beefy, so he ends up strolling up into the zone and riling up a little bit. I just present it. Now I know Rocinante can walk up to me, but without charging, I feel like there's enough there to make it so it's not so bad.
And you didn't get in to engage him, so no defensive strike.
Yep.
So that's worth noting.
So now Madrak's getting to the front side of the flag and turning around a little bit just to make sure that I can do some things to Anastasia when she comes in. But he just sits on the flag and feats and keeps even ground going, because getting my defense and armor are going to get to a point where it's annoying to deal with either of those stats. So I think it's super important for me to have those, and if you're paying attention, you'll notice there's no Rune Bear. I do think spending rec options on something so supporty and so non-active is really not great for trolls, so he is not in the list, and I opted for Skaldi instead. But otherwise, I just have everything up here, chilling out in zones, contesting what they can, and this is really about as deep as I can get right now.
So going into top of 3, we both scored 1 from our flags, but now I have the chance to start contesting his stuff. So off camera, you can't really see it. I don't think, or no, I haven't.
We're not quite there yet.
Yeah, I'm just pre-measuring some line of sight. Gaston can't see the Mauler because like it's literally the perfect position, but of like the Rocinante and the rock in the middle. So like I can't aim and then shoot him before he goes in. I probably should. I've planned some stuff around just to do Gaston first, but I end up allocating 2 to Rocinante, upkeeping my 2 spells, so I'm sitting on 2, and then still doing some pre-measuring.
Yeah, I think this was a really big formulation turn for you, because you know that Mauler's a problem and you need to get rid of it. The rest of the stuff, you can't do a ton to the champion, so it's like, oh, I'll walk and do some damage or whatever, but I think the real, like, the formula you have to go through right now is figuring out how to deal with the Mauler.
Yep, because Anastasia's ambushing 100% this turn to contest that flag on the other side. Mm-hmm. I maybe should have ambushed her the turn before just to contest the flag on the other side of the woods. I didn't know if Madrak could get lined to her through the woods and shoot her before I get to contest it, so, like, I figured it'd just be safer. Halbs run up because they're blocking my path, or they just walk. One of them walks to engage 2 champs. 2 of them walk up to engage the Mauler, because I'm going to try and get some cute flank action going on. Because I can't charge, but with the cavalry flank bonus, it's kind of like charging, but like it's not.
It's like a bad charge.
Yeah, because they need the charge to do stuff. There I CMA miss. There I swing a miss, because turns out Mat 5 and the Def 14 and 16
Def
sucks.
16 is no Bwane.
Yep. So now Rocinante goes up. Needs 7s to hit because he's Mat 7. Hits it. Dice -2. I missed the dice tray.
A million times.
Yep.
So that's 7 to me. It kind of hurts, but it is what it is.
Hits,
now that one
hurts. Hit again. So I'm just like rolling these hard 7s. Does 4. And then I finally miss.
Yep. So I was not happy about that box cars on him. I was like, man, the Mauler can probably survive this. But now, since that Steelhead Halberdiers there, I'm really worried that the Mauler is not going to make it.
Yep. And I should have had Gaston go first to shoot him before he was in combat. Like, in my head, I was like, oh yeah, Gaston could shoot in the melee easy peasy. It doesn't matter. And like, it's been a little while since I played him. I was like, oh yeah, I'm Rat 6. I don't have a marked target bot over there. And like, that's a war beast. Their movement doesn't get crippled.
Yep, it sure doesn't. And having even ground up affecting my battle group as well, or like just my war beasts in general, then getting that bonus in melee as well, I'm sitting at a salty defense 18.
Yeah, but that's more of me getting used to... I'm used to having like thralls and just throw away like marked target bots where I just don't care. Yeah. Or even Ragman for a blind.
So I think now your Steelhead Cav are going in, and the first one connects and does a decent amount of damage. Not a ton, because he's still like dice off 7.
Yeah, or dice off 8
on
the pistol.
And then the second one, one of the attacks missed, and now you're doing like dice off 9s or something with like poopy shots.
The mount and the blunderbuss with point blank are both POW 12s.
Gotcha. So you're dice off 8 no matter what.
The one in the top half, the one that went for the champs, he missed. Because your Mauler is only sitting on like...
He's got 3 whole boxes. Or no, he's not 3 boxes right now. He's 9 boxes.
Yep. So Gaston goes, aims, After I lucky shot him, miss, I use the lucky shot to reroll I hit. I boost damage, dice off 8, leave him on 2. Or I do 2
You
damage.
leave it. Yeah, you leave. I think at this point I'm on 3, so I had 6 boxes or 5
and then
boxes.
I forgot to take the second shot, needing a 10, so I probably would have missed anyway. But
So thankfully now I don't feel like there's anything else threatening my Mauler. Like I know it's gonna exist, and that's good for me.
Yep. Oh, this is the. You let me do the cavalry attack on the champs because I forgot to actually make the attack.
Yeah, because we walked it back, and I was like, just do it.
Yep. And then
Just cycled some damage.
yeah, that's pretty much me.
So I feel like the luckiest person in the world because my Mauler is alive. After that double 6 roll on Rocinante, I did not feel like he was going to make it, but here I am on 3 boxes. A couple of my champions are on fire, and I didn't take the opportunity to do the immune to continuous effects from the stone. I just decided to go with +1 strength last turn because it's just like a default for me. So they end up taking a little bit of damage. One of them actually takes enough damage to die and then toughs, so that was good. But for the most part here, I'm just trying to figure out what it is that I need to do to kind of make this game kind of swing into my favor again, because I haven't lost anything, and now it's time for me to get my show started. I'm trying to figure out a way for Madrak to do everything he wants to do here. I want to get within 5 of Anastasia to throw an axe at her. And the chances of me hitting are not great, but it's decent, right? I'm a boostable 6, so like I need a 10 to hit you.
9, because she's a 15.
Gotcha. So it's not terrible for him, but I also want to be able to jackhammer and heal my beast up. So I'm just barely out of 6 inches from being able to do that. And then if I had a better mindset or a better head at the time, I probably would have tried to leave the Mauler within 6 inches just so that I could prepare for that. But that's definitely hindsight. So I think I'm kind of figuring out what it is that's more important to me: killing Anastasia and scoring my flag, or going up to get within range of the Mauler so I can jackhammer to get rid of Rocinante and maybe start to collapse that side of the zone. I opt to say, screw the flag, I'm going to go for your top zone. And Madrak walks up and he doesn't put even ground up. We had some problems here with like the Fury Vault thing. So again, I don't play trolls frequently. I used to play them a lot. Now I don't so much anymore just because I play so many other things. But I kind of made the Fury Vault, I got backwards, but it just, we fixed it now. So Madrak's going to go empty this game, or for this turn, and the jackhammers really don't get there. So I have to forgo putting up even ground right now, and the Mauler just doesn't come up with a whole lot of damage on Rocinante. I think it wasn't. Oh, I was attacking Halberdiers.
Yeah, you're trying to clear them.
I was trying to clear them up so I could get some low-hanging snacking going on, and then that way I could put the Mauler fully into Rocinante. And unfortunately, looking for those 7s just didn't pan out a lot of times, and then you toughed on 1, so I was able to snack once, I think.
No, not from your jackhammers.
Oh no, you toughed on that that cavalry, and I didn't kill it.
Nope.
So I didn't have enough jackhammer juice left to finish that out. So now I'm wanting to make sure that Anastasia doesn't do anything weird to Madrak, so I end up walking up the stone and putting up the +1 strength thing again instead of clearing off continuous effects. And mostly because Dauntless Resolve is on the Halberdier Cavalry, so I want to make sure that I can cut through that all right with the champions. So that was kind of my thought pattern with that one. I'm not too worried about just continuous effects kind of working them down. I just want to do work this turn. Although, like I said, they're POW 12 weapon masters, so chances are they probably don't need the stone strength to do it. But I was just playing for the big numbers. So through the forest here, I'm able to charge the Halberdier that's hanging out on the other side because I am in the cloud now. And I think I curve... There's one other guy, or one champion that I'm working out now, what he's going to go after, and I decide to put him into the Toro. And I wanted to do that to make sure that there were no weird countercharge shenanigans that happen later, and then this way I can just get some damage on him right away. I eat up a free strike, but I think it does enough damage to actually kill him, so I just end up transferring the damage around to one champion and Skaldi a little bit. I'm not too worried. I'm not worried too much about that one. So now I've got my charge on Skaldi going into the Steelhead Cav. I think I put like 3 champions or 4 champions into him. Like that guy is not going to make it through this.
Probably not.
Yep. So I think that one was starting off with the Halberdier that I charged in the middle of the table. No, this was the Toro. I decided to take the Toro's attacks first, and we do a pretty decent chunk of damage on the first one, and then we hit again. And this one does not do so much damage. I think it was like 1 damage, if anything. I don't think it was anything, though. So next up, I'm moving over to the Halberdier, I think. Yep, because I missed the first attack, hit the second one, and then he's just toast.
Yep, because the set defense you missed, but then your second you hit.
Yep, and then I was thinking about overtaking here, and then we just realized that like Relentless Charge doesn't like let you keep Pathfinder throughout the turn. It's always a thing that like gets to me. Like I always will do it. I'm like, I have Relentless Charge this turn. And then, but overtaking doesn't do anything for me, so I just decide to do takedown instead so that Gaston doesn't get any souls.
Yeah, which is a sad time for my boy Gaston.
Yep, that's another, like, we're taking these attacks on the Steelhead Cav. Like, spoiler, he's going to die. So anyway, one of the reasons why I picked Band of Heroes is that I feel like in Brawlmachine, you want to make sure you can get as much support and cool business as you can. And I think that one of the better troll benefits is in Band of Heroes and being able to just get takedown to get RFP on all your warrior models and stop people from doing tough shenanigans makes the list feel a little bit more efficient. So you're like not wasting points on those types of abilities. You just get them. So that's kind of why that's my small segue into why I've decided to go with Band of Heroes. So now the Mauler is going to go, and this guy's got to do a lot of work because those jackhammers just didn't really like do much for me. So I'm back up to I have all my systems, I'm good to go, and I start taking smacks into Rocinante. I didn't rage myself. I figured more attacks are better at dice off 1, and you can see I'm hitting really well, but I sure am not doing much for damage here.
No,
like,
you're rolling pretty bad.
We're rolling below average, and at some points, like way below average. Like that one just did 2 damage to him. Like we get 1 where it blows up, where I do 11, but it's still not quite enough to balance out. Like a Fury 5 Mauler really should have been able to take out Rocinante without any real issues while having some left over. And I did. I had 1 left over, but I wasn't expecting something like that. So I go into the Steelhead Heavy Cav so I can at least get a snack out of it, and then I think that about rounds out the turn for me.
It's worth noting your Impaler missed Stannis. And then it's worth noting as soon as Brian ended his turn, we realized I auto-won because I didn't contest my flag. So I went up to 2-1 on his turn, and then at the end of my turn, all I have to do is clear my zone and score my flag again, and I win.
Yep, so missing the shot on Stannis was a real bummer because I think that the Mauler probably might not have been able to get him or just kill him based on the stats, but it was like the last shot that I had for it. The list just doesn't have enough baked into it to contest these flags that are so back or so far away from me. And since Madrak had to come off of his flag and it didn't deal with Anastasia, it just didn't work out. And based on how those jackhammer attacks panned out, I think it probably would have just been better in hindsight again to just have gone after Anastasia and hope for that 9 on the axe. So for sideboarding this time around, I decided to remove Skaldi from the list because I just feel like spending your requisition point on some kind of do work model or something to make a unit better just feels a little bit not great given the setup that I have here. So I pull him out, pull the Fell Caller in because that gives me a solo that can get on the flag that Madrak doesn't need to babysit. And I also get Pathfinder still, and it's Pathfinder all the time in case I want to do some overtake business. But I decide to leave the Impaler in instead of switching him out for the Pyre Troll Swamp Gobber package because I feel like I'm going to be in these zones anyways. And I think the Impaler has some value in here with Madrak having Ricochet and the Impaler just being like a Rat 5 gun that can like on boosted average, better than average, hit his attacks.
So for my sideboard, I decided to swap out Reinholdt for the Arcanist. because he has Wind Thrower, so he can just get rid of clouds, which, fun fact, burning Earth is a cloud, so the whole template goes away. I kept Stannis because with Takedown, I'm not really going to get any souls on Alexia. So, like, the soul matchup this game is kind of eh. So I just kind of stuck with that. And then that's all the changes I really made.
Yep. One notable change, I guess, is that I ended up opting to take the side that Ethan had. Even though I brought some more Pathfinder elements to my list, I didn't want to get stuck up on the forest with my caster or with the Fellcaller, so I decided to give Ethan that side instead and let him deal with it, even though he's more equipped for it.
Yep. So I do get the first roll or the first turn again, which I think is really powerful in Brawlmachine. So with me going kind of basically symmetrical to what I did before. Cav on the top, Halbs on the bottom. Gaston goes. Dauntless up there, Lifebound on those guys. Rocinante runs. Halbs are just running up.
Yeah, you're just getting ready to jam zones and do stuff. I just felt like that bottom, like the side that you're on right now just didn't really work for me. And I just really didn't want to deal with it again, so I decided to go for this side.
Yeah, like I have Ghost Walk, so I can get around it pretty easily, but you, like, yeah, you can fell call one unit, but there's, like, with that rubble, with the burning earth, with the forest, like, it's just really hard for you. And then you got to worry about that flag in the woods with Anastasia just contesting behind it.
Yeah, there's nothing back there to block anything, so that's one problem, but trolls are decently statted enough to where I'm not too worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing about this, I don't know. Oh,
I was looking up the Steelhead Arcanist.
Oh yeah, and we just couldn't find his
like
stuff.
I can never get War Room to add a card mid game. I forgot to swap it out before playing.
Yep.
So I just counted them as speed 5.
I have a feeling they're speed 6, but
they are speed 6.
Yeah. So the other, I do know my feat works better on turn when I get the top of the turn, but we'll see how the rest of the turn plays out for me. So with all this stuff out of my way right now, like the no forest, no rubble to deal with, I can really get the rest of my army up into positions where I'm as far out as I can be without having to worry too much about the threat from Ethan so much. I opt to get the Fellcaller on the flag first so that he can just hang out there and make sure that Anastasia can't like get to him. The Mauler runs up the full distance. I'm fine with taking like 3 charges from the cavalry. I feel like I can stave most of that off between having even ground up and the stone. Like I'm playing a little fast and loose with my stats on the Mauler. So I feel like he's fine there, and I don't need to feat this turn. If I don't feat this turn, it means that there's a possibility, a chance that Ethan might try to Wind Thrower the Burning Earth off the table to try and open things up for him instead of letting me get into him. So I'm keeping my stone pretty far back, and they've been rolling really hot for that Fury Vault this whole game, and that doesn't stop now, so they're almost full again. I think they're at 3 after being almost empty. Well, 4 maybe. So the champions run up and just take up residence in the middle of the table, so maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself with baiting a Wind Thrower.
Yeah, because none of my stuff is really in threat, or your stuff's not in threat of mine. So like I'm definitely waiting out your feat to Wind Thrower off that Burning Earth, just so that way like I have the charge lanes. And then I opt not to ambush Anastasia because I'm going to wait until contesting actually starts, because now up on that top flag there's nowhere for her to hide. And then even in that zone, the Impaler can easily walk around and get within 5 and then try and rock her with a boosted spear to the face.
Yep.
So Gaston goes, he feats, everybody's in because I was smart and kept everybody within 12. He walks up into the rubble just to play it safe. He casts Fire Group because I'm going to try and get some work out of Rocinante's gun. And then here I'm measuring a Halb's run to engage threat. So running 12 means I can go all the way up there because, fun fact about flank, you don't have to be in command. You just have to be in melee.
Yep, it's one of those weird things that works but shouldn't.
Yeah, because you can't make attacks while you're out of formation, but you still have a melee range. You just can't.
Yeah, and you're not affected by upkeeps. Like, when you're out of formation, there are so many things you can't do, but flank is just something that you can just work with.
Unless I played it wrong. It's possible. Because I know, like, I looked up Gaston's Lifebound spell does not have the information clause.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's right. I forget that some do, some don't.
Yeah, so, like, that guy is still a shield guard way up there, and there I'm just running a Halbs. So I got 1 in the zone, cutely 1 within 3 for shield guard in case that Impaler tries to go up, because I don't really see anything else getting to him. So he can try. Toro hides up behind the woods. Stannis stays on the flag. And then here's where I'm going to get frisky. So first cavalry charges, impact attacks. I believe, yeah, I thought it would be easier to see, but no, it might be worse. Impact attack hits, does decent damage at dice -8. Actually, no.
It does no damage.
Ah, that's right. I mean, that's decent at dice -8. Flank for 3 dice.
Yep.
Next one charges. You were measuring there just to see if I could go without getting on fire, and I was like, I don't care about getting on fire because you're going to just kill it next turn.
Yeah, I was trying to be mindful of it, and you just didn't care.
And then there, I make sure I don't impact kill my own halberdier because that would really suck. Impact attack hits. Now that one does okay.
Yeah, that one did a decent chunk of damage that I wasn't expecting. I'm like getting some flashbacks from Rocinante. I'm like, am I really going to die this time, or am I going to get lucky twice?
And then this one, I couldn't get base to base with you, and I didn't think I could impact attack off my own guy, and I was worried about killing my own dude, but I forgot I don't get flank on my own guy, so it would have been just a dice off 8.
And with Dauntless Resolve, they're not so bad.
Well, I mean, like, I physically can't kill.
So that attack did quite a bit. It took out almost my whole mind in one swing.
Yep, with flank, POW 13 charges. Like
that second one did no damage.
Yep.
And that one's not doing a ton either. So maybe we're still okay so far. Like the Mauler's just taking some hits, and for the most part, the stone is helping me out.
And then that one just blew it up.
Yeah, he did. You left me on very few boxes. I think I'm 3 or 4.
And then
like
my
that.
flank pistol misses.
Yep, so I get to sneak out of that one without taking any chip shots. And now you're just repoing to get your max one, or to stay in my 1-inch melee range and just kind of open things up a little bit.
Yep, because I wanted to leave a line so Rocinante could potentially shoot the Fell Caller. That's why I cast Fire Group this turn. And I was debating shooting into melee with Powerful Shot, but then it's like even ground puts you up to def 18 in melee, and I'm only at 6, so it's like,
Yeah, you need 12 on 3 dice, which you could do it.
Yeah.
But, like, do you bank that on this one shot or him doing nothing? You know, like, it's rough. It's not a good number to hit unless you're really, like, trying to dig for something. If it were me, I probably would have taken the shot.
I was thinking more of, like, see, I only rolled a 9, so I would have missed. I went for the Fell Caller because my logic was if I kill the Fell Caller, he's got nothing to score that flag, so then I don't have to worry about contesting.
Yep. The Fell Caller survives.
Yeah, I rolled like a 3 for damage.
Yep, so he's got a couple boxes left on him, which I'm happy about because now I can still use Pathfinder from him and make sure that flag's staying scored, because my hope is that nothing else, like, I'm going to present enough to Ethan to where he can't really pay attention to what the Fell Caller's doing anymore. And I've kind of made it so that I've lasted long enough to get a really effective feat, because now this will be the time where Ethan wants to get into me. So I have to be super cognizant of the scenario again. It seems like the scenario just goes so quick, and this army bricks so hard that it doesn't have the capability to get to some of the pieces that need to be contested. So I'm trying to figure out like orders of operation because they're a little screwball-y for me this turn. So the first thing I decide to do is have Madrak go, and I'm pulling out my super secret move that Ethan probably didn't see coming here, and it was an axe throw into the guy that's in cover.
Yep, because I forgot about Tactician.
Yep, Tactician's a really good deal for him. So I walk up, and I need a 12 or an 11 to hit you because I'm Rat 6 and you're like defense 17 back there.
Yep.
So I decide to just like go for it and boost it. Of course I boost it. And you don't see it connect, but it's super connected. And this is where Ethan shield guards it, and I'm like, that's super fine because I'm just going to ricochet off you anyways. So we go ahead and take another boosted attack roll into the guy that we're trying to get out of this zone. I'm going to see if lightning can strike twice. And unfortunately it does not.
Nope.
And that's a real bummer for me. I was hoping Madrak could just go up here, do what he needed to do, and call it good with scoring this zone. I did get to Blood Boon even ground off of that, so I feel good there. It keeps my Fury use efficient, and I still have a little bit to kind of deposit where I need to. I do feat this turn, and I always, whenever I feat with Madrak, it feels like I'm always doing it to stop these alphas. So I don't get to do the healing part of it very often. So Ethan reminds me eventually, it'll come up sooner or later, that I get to heal the Mauler back, which we'll get there. But that's
yeah, because you spent 2 Fury to get him back up and running.
Yes, I did. I pitched that to get there. So I think Madrak still camps 1 because boost hit, and then heal 2. So the Mauler's functional, and that's what really counts for me right now. So I think at this point I'm trying to figure out like, what's the next thing I need to do? I know that I'm not going to be able to contest his flag. Like, there's no way that's happening. So I decide to dig deep and get the Mauler, or the Impaler to go, and now I got to hit a 12 to get this Halberdier out of the zone, and he misses. Like, I rolled 2 2s, and then the third die falls out of the box, so I'm like, there's no way I can hit that. Which is unfortunate. I was really hoping that I could grab that guy. I know it wasn't likely, but to be able to get that out of there would have been really helpful. It would have mean that I'm not so much threatened on losing on scenario. So now what I need to do is have my champions go, and some of them have started a conga line to protect Madrak a little bit from a walking and punching Toro. So the other 2 have gone off to try and clear the Halberdier and the pony. So we get the cavalry guy off there, and then the Halberdier goes off too. So now I've just got a champion that doesn't have anything to attack with. I think there were probably some better options for what they could have done or should have done. Maybe even their positioning could be different here to take more advantage of how that Mauler was set up. But right now I've still got two models on the Mauler that I need to get off of him. There was a real big push for me to want to get the Mauler into, this is the heal for, oh no, that was the stone. The stone goes up to max and puts up strength. So now the Mauler goes, and we have maybe healed it already. I think we have. I see the boxes, so I must have healed it already. Anyway, he got to heal 5 boxes back, so that was pretty nice. So now I'm just going to start punching on these cavalry dudes, and they don't take a whole lot of effort to go down. It's like I'm boosting the hit on each one of them and taking them down. I think one of them tuffed, maybe.
Nah, I don't think
maybe my first attack missed or something, but it's like boost again and boost damage. That's what it was. Is buy and boost, or boost attack, boost damage, and then with just his initials, they're gone. And I heal a lot back, so the Mauler's sitting pretty healthy. My issue was I was hoping to try and clear off the Mauler so I could charge Rocinante instead and get into the zone. But at this moment, we learned that even though I've scored my flag, I still am auto-losing because I haven't been able to contest any of the zones. So I know that this is not the greatest showcase for my skill as a player or Brawlmachine as a format, but I think it does kind of outline the things that you don't want to do when you're playing this format. And for me, my list is really good. It's a good list in general, but I don't have the ability to kind of send screening units up really far, and maybe this is more of a me not taking first turn on that next one and just like eating that bad zone or that bad side for me. But for the most part, I think I'm just, the list isn't built properly to take advantage of the game style that's being played here. I think at 25 points, you really need to lean your list into things to help support getting on scenario. So like Ethan's list is really good for it. He's got a couple min units. One of them solely exists just to buff the other one, but that doesn't mean that they're not good at doing their own thing with CMAs and running into zones. They're quick and fast and they can do stuff. And then you've got your hard-hitting unit in the Steelhead Cav and a couple jacks. One of them can threaten a lot of different things because you've got a good shooting attack, and your caster is extremely active, being a shooting caster as well. For my list, I just have a bumbly, tumbly brick that isn't going to get into your zones or contest your flag. Like literally, there's nothing in my army that'll get to that flag by the time I need to start contesting it if I want to play my list the way it's supposed to play. It's so hard to brick in Brawlmachine.
Yeah, like you said, I think this showcases really well how you have to change how you build lists, and even like what casters you bring, what they normally do, and how that changes. Like I brought Anastasia in here because I wanted a cheap ambusher because that feels really, really powerful in this scenario, like especially this one where there's such deep elements like that flag. Like I think one of the feedback I'd give, we talked about, the flag should be 2 inches up and over, so it's 18-18. Just because like for a slow army going second, unless you have ambushers, getting to that flag is a nightmare.
Yeah, it's
assuming no terrain's even in the way.
It's really tough. Like in thinking about it, like if Madrak were not, if you just make a switch in this list and take out Madrak and put in Gristle 2, it's immediately better than what this is, because like Madrak can, like I said, can brick real nice and make sure that I absorb the alpha, or not absorb the alpha, but kind of stave it off. But I feel like someone like Gristle 2 who has dash, and if she's playing in Storm of the North, can get the Cold Stone. Now trolls are being able to run far enough to get into these contesting spots, and with just base unyielding on feet turn, like they become a lot more difficult for my opponent to drag out. And I think Ethan would choke a little bit more had I had some of this stuff deep into his zone, and then at that point Gristle can also start shooting things. And Madrak, I can shoot with Madrak, but it's one shot and he's not really like throwing up a whole lot of great numbers. I gotta spend to boost the hit on the first one, spend to boost the hit on the second one, and at least Gristle can take the volume of shots. It's not that I'm trying to say like Gristle's better than Madrak or anything. Like in this particular scenario, it's just you really have to think about and I mean scenario in general, not just the Warmachine scenario, but you really have to think about how much your caster is committing to the game. And even though Madrak can do a lot of things, he's just not doing them quick enough or getting his army where it needs to be in order to contest a lot of these elements. Because when you look at the scenario, it's 2 circles. Like I should be super good for that because my stone likes to stay back and my champions want to get up in the business. Problem is, they just don't get there.
Yeah, it's just, you underestimate how fast the scenario gets away in Brawlmachine, especially like you're so ingrained in your head that like, oh, you got to get 5 or more to win. Like 3 or more is such like a fast swing. Like that can happen in a turn and a half if you don't properly like clear off your zone. And if at 25 points, it's so hard to contest. But that, I feel like that's where like those cheap contest and ambush options, like for hordes like Feral Geists, Gremlin Swarms, and even like Gatorman Husks, I think print money in Brawlmachine.
Machine Wraiths are another good one.
Machine Wraiths, because like your 2-3 points, your ambush or your incorporeal, because like incorporeal I feel like is a big gear check in Brawlmachine, even more than normal.
Yep.
Because like I brought an Arcanist for this list, but say I didn't have an Arcanist, I'm playing Mercs. Like what are my magic weapons options? My caster, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like Alexia I could swap in to maybe get a Hellfire off, but like it's hard to scalpel out those solos, especially when you're spending more points than what those contest models are worth just to try and clear, because then you got to deal with the rest of the army.
Yeah, and there might not even be anything to help that piece you've brought in to do more work. And I think that's just another issue, not an issue, but a problem that I had, is that my list has a lot of bulky points. So the champions cost a lot, the Mauler costs a lot. So my sideboard options don't become really easy to work with. I think I played a in that Brawlmachine league I mentioned earlier, I'm playing Grimkin, and that one it's a little bit easier to make the switches in and out because their solos are a lot more toolboxy. But this list, it's difficult. I have to kind of switch out packages for packages, even if I'm losing a couple points, like off that Mauler to Pyre Troll and Swamp Gobber mix. Like that's 1 point that I lose, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but in Brawlmachine, it definitely matters. Every point is really precious when you look at the difference between a 4-point solo and a 5-point one. So I think up to this point, we've kind of not trashed on the format, but just more so talked about how our expectations that we brought to this format were not quite matching up with what the format actually demands of you. So I think we'll probably be playing a few more of these Brawlmachine games in the future. It's not going to dominate the channel or anything like that, but we're going to probably be trying to unlock that format a little bit more and try and get the idea of what it is we need to bring to the table in order to, exist and compete. And I think we have talked about doing some things where we're trying to break the format a little bit since it's kind of in this test zone. But all in all, I think Brawlmachine is an interesting format that lets you engage the game differently, and you can play the games. It's not quicker. I think between Ethan and I, we played a pretty fast game, but that was mostly because I was playing like a doofus. But I think that if you want to try and switch things up and play the game a little bit differently, then this is definitely a thing to do. As a new player, I probably wouldn't recommend this format. And I think it's not geared towards new players, but it definitely looks attractive being like one list and 25 points, but I just don't think it's a new player friendly.
Yeah, I could see the how on paper you would think oh, this is really newbie friendly, but then factoring in the sideboard and then trying to figure out, I think a 2-list format would help tremendously, because if you get into those hard counter matchups with one list, a sideboard really doesn't help overcome a terrible matchup. It might level the playing field a little bit, but you're still at a disadvantage. But I think the format's pretty fun, and it's a nice change of pace. I think it's ingrained in everybody's head, 75-point steamrollers, 75-point steamrollers. So even building lists for this was such a nice change of pace, because I'm going through, I'm okay, do my solos do enough work to warrant them being in, and then what theme do I want to play in, and then like you said, we're gonna go through and try and break it just to see, because I think I'm in a couple of different group chats, and one of the group chats I'm in is the Minnesota League, and we had a good discussion about, or I was playing a game, so I had to just read it in between turns. But they talked about how, if you're going to run a Brawlmachine event, you almost need, a social contract with more of the veteran players so they don't break it. Because I feel there are some casters that are either on the watch list or not even on the watch list that need to be, respected and not played if you're trying to, gear the event for more newer players and get them to, experience something as more of, a funsy event.
Yeah, if you're the player that, you've played enough to where you understand the fundamentals of the game, you're that middle-level player, I think that's where maybe Brawlmachine might fit you better, and especially for vet players, too. But new players, no way, no.
Yeah, because, as soon as you get into things, I know they put, Harby's on the watch list, she should be, auto-banned, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Harby at 25 points should not be a thing.
Krios 1 is another one on here. I think that Sorsha 1's made the watch list, and I'm a huge Sorsha 1 player. I love playing that caster so much, and you really can scalpel out just about any caster you want to, especially since some of the bugbears are kind of off the list. I think Karchev got banned, or is he on watch?
I think
no, he's on watch.
He's on watch.
So the thing that's against Sorsha 3 or Sorsha 1 is that casters usually end up being do-work casters in this format. You can't just be a support bot. So sometimes those casters are not ones she wants to go in, like your Karchevs or your big beefy ones, like maybe Borka 2. She might, well, for Borka 2 she obviously doesn't want to go into. You just can't do it. Unless you get super lucky. But Krios 1 not even being mentioned on the watch list while Sorsha 1 is up there just feels really rough. Sorsha still has to get the angles on you to freeze you, and once she touches you, you're probably down. But with Krios 1, he can just manufacture his assassination from anywhere while still having a really good spell list and then just pop you off the table.
It's not even the pop and drop feat, it's more of
or stopping you from getting into scenarios.
If Krios 1 or Sorsha go first, and they run turn 1 and feat offensively turn 2 on your army, not your caster, but imagine Krios is standing where that Toro is, if we still got this picture up, and like he feats there, like nothing is getting to his zone or his flag. Like you gotta really respect.
Thankfully, even ground is up. So
yeah,
but Sorsha is a good example though, right? Because if tables are flipped, I'm playing Sorsha instead of Madrak here. If I feat on you early so that you're stuck in your zones, you can't stop my scoring.
No.
Your infantry can't shake stationary, so you're just stuck there for a whole turn, and then I'm allowed to do it again. Like if I contest your zone, I can get up 3 up on you really fast, and I think that you're right. That is probably the more threatening proposition for her, and less just grabbing casters, is just shutting people out of the scenario.
Because I feel like people respect the caster assassination if we're like, okay, I have to keep Gaston as far away as I can. But then, like, I have to give my army on a silver platter.
Yeah, if you're trying to stop the assassination, it means that the real assassination is going to be the scenario.
Because, we showed in the video, a scenario can just get pulled out from you in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I was doing work. Like, everything I was doing was what I needed to do. I was killing the things. I was trying to untie stuff. But just a few missed attacks just took it right out from under. Like, when I missed being able to kill that guy in the bottom zone, the game was over.
Yep, or that first game where you missed Stannis on the flag, so you couldn't contest. Because if you had Thunderbolted him off, it's a game.
Yep.
And then I feel like there's some themes that people probably need to just like respect and not play. Like I feel like Tharn at 25 points just feels too good, especially like Baldur 1 or Iona Tharn. Like because Iona Tharn, like with that feat, she'll mulch infantry, kill heavies, and then Baldur 1 feeding is just like another control feat on top of Tharn. And like I don't know, I really really do like how like there is a ban list. I think that's needed for a format like this. So like I appreciate that they went through and put the thought into like no TK casters. That makes real sense to me. And then like some of those other picks on there where it's like, yeah, this probably is not good at 25 points.
Magnus 2 is not good. I am slightly surprised that the Hellmouth just wasn't in day 1 auto ban. Like, you need special tools to get Hellmouths out, and other than that, they're just always contesting.
Yep.
So they become too much of a central scenario piece.
And they're just free. Like, you can't, at 25 points, your clearing is very limited, especially your clearing on free models that just recur. Like, I think Sentry Stones are okay, because they were on the watch list, but that's, like, they're twigs. They just kind of die. Like, it's all about what work they can do before they die, whereas a Hellmouth is just like, I auto-contest forever. Yeah.
I guess overall the Brawlmachine's really unique and interesting, and it's been a while since we've had a format that's kind of really made you have to think about the game differently. So there's a lot of new, like I'm bringing a list that's a little bit more established. Like this is a tried and true Madrak like trope, but there's definitely things that we can look at from other perspectives. Like I'm sure Crix has some really interesting, like I was thinking Gorshade one, but like maybe he's not banned, I don't think.
No, the only Crix caster that's banned is Scar one, and then Denny one is on the watch list, and I think she should be promoted to the list.
Yeah, she just swings things too much.
I mean, yeah, now you can at least run charge, but
between the ways that she debuffs speed, I just think that it's probably too much.
Yeah, I guess when you crippling grasp and feed a unit, so they're negative.
Yeah,
4
they're
speed.
not going anywhere.
No, and like casters like Grim 1, like those hard control feats, just like they can be ball busting at 25.
Yeah, it's tough business, but look forward to some more Brawlmachine. Leave some comments in the section below if you've played any Brawlmachine games and what you've taken away from it. Otherwise, I think I'm pretty like jazzed about the format. It's not going to be the main way I play Warmachine because I still appreciate the 75-point game, but I think it's pretty fun and it's definitely refreshing, like Ethan said.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace. Like, it is just like even going through, like I built like 8 different lists, but like, and then we were trying to build lists that like didn't break the game. So I was building like balanced lists where I'm like, I'm looking at casters, or I'm like, I haven't touched this.
Yeah, it's fun. It makes you look at things differently. Like, I had to build an Impaler because of this format.
Aren't you a troll player? Shouldn't you have like 4 of them already?
No, I actually I've clear cut some of my troll collections over the years. Like when Mark III first rolled out, I spite sold them and I was really upset about it. Both when they came out and then when I realized what I had done. So I had been collecting so I have no more EE stuff, which is good now. Good that I don't have it. And the only Impaler that I own is the one from the starter box.
Well, I mean, you say that for now, but I heard the Elemental Lights and that new Troll Sid coming up.
Yeah, who knows? I just saw the market teaser for Gunbjorn, and it looks like his feat's going to make blast damage full damage.
And it said something about stripping
Shield guard.
guards.
Yep, that'll be fun. So anyways, I think we're kind of toilet bowling here. So enjoy the Brawlmachine format and look forward to some more for us in the future from it.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time.